Hi everyone, I'm Patrick and I'm back with the Kea here at Willowbank. We've had some really great questions come in response to the first couple of videos, so today I'm going to go through them and try answer as many of them as I can. So the first question comes from Papa Lala, who asks, how many Kea does the sanctuary have and what are their personalities like? So we have 13 Kea here in the aviary, and most of them are named after supervillains, which I think gives a bit of a hint towards their personality. So we have Neo, Loki, Plankton, Blofeld, Taz, Katie, Harley, Moriarty, Spike, Bo, and then there's also Johnny, Megatron, and Angelina. Okay, next question. Always for Awesome asks, can you ask them if I can please have my hat back? I'm sorry, that hat's probably gone. But more seriously, how social are Kea? So Kea are super social birds. In the wild, they have what's known as a fission-fusion dynamic. So they'll live in large groups, but individuals will come and go from that group as they please. They're also famous for how much they play. They're one of the few bird species that continue to play right through into adulthood. They even have a particular call that is associated with play, called the warble. It sounds something like this. Kea will quite often make this call when they're playing, and it will elicit other birds around them to also start playing too, which is a really cool thing about them. But they're also really social with the people that come in here. And that leads quite nicely onto the next question from V-Dog, who asks, what's the most unexpected thing you've seen a Kea do? So, back at the start of the year, when New Zealand went into its whole stage 4 lockdown, Willowbank did have to close for a few weeks. And the morning we reopened, the first visitor to walk in, all the birds just flocked down around her, or just all over this person, because it was the first new person they had seen in 6 weeks. It was really, really amazing to see, and completely unexpected. We've also noticed that since reopening after lockdown, especially in the few weeks after we first reopened, the birds were a lot more interested and a lot more interactive with people who were coming through. So it is really interesting to see how social they are, not only with each other, but with people who come in to visit. Okay, so next question from Waffles4 is, do they ever bite you? And what's the toughest puzzle they've ever managed to solve? So 2 questions there. First question, yes, we do get bitten. The really important thing to remember is that while these birds are cute, they do love to socialise with us, they do love to flock around us, they are still wild animals, they're not pets. And so if you do something they don't like, they will bite you. So when you're visiting, that's why it's really important that you don't feed the Kea, you don't try and touch them, because chances are they are going to try and defend themselves. They will decide if they want to come and touch you and come land on you. In terms of the toughest puzzle that they've managed to solve, one of the really interesting papers that we've had come out recently was about the birds' understanding of relative frequencies, which means they can look at 2 jars with different proportions of rewarding and unrewarding tokens in them, and they can figure out which jar is most likely to give them a reward if they don't know exactly which token has come out of it. But where this gets really interesting is they're able to actually bring in multiple sources of information to solve this problem. So once we introduce a physical barrier inside the jar, or we start looking if they're understanding a social cue to help solve the task, they're still able to do it, which is a really interesting finding, and it's really impressive. If you want to find out more about our research, you can visit the Animal Minds Lab website, and you can also see and also link to a bit of coverage about that paper in the description. Flightless Bird asks, so you have both Kea and Kaka, right? What's the difference? So Kaka are another species of New Zealand parrot, but they're found at lower altitudes and in forest environments, whereas Kea are an alpine parrot. Kaka are also found on both the North and South Island, whereas Kea are only found in the South Island. They also have different diets. Kea will eat pretty much anything they can, whereas Kaka are a little bit more picky because where they live they can afford to be. They're just, 2 different species of parrot. Alright, next question is from Sandra NZ, who asks, where do your Kea come from, and how long do they live in captivity versus the wild. So most of the birds we have here at Willowbank were born here. They're mostly children of Johnny, but we do have a couple of rescues. So the most noticeable one is Katie/Bruce, who I talked about in the last video. But as to how long they live in captivity versus the wild, this is one of the most surprising statistics I found out recently. And in captivity, a Kea can live over 50 years old. The oldest bird we have here at Willowbank is Spike, who is around 26 years old now, but they will live to over 50. However, in the wild, because of the threats and dangers that they face, the median life expectancy for a Kea is only 5 years. And that really highlights the importance of the conservation efforts to protect these birds. We need to make sure that we're reducing the predators that they face, like stoats and possums and cats. This also leads in really well to a question a few different people asked, which is, what can you do to help? So the first thing is, if you do see Kea in the wild, don't feed them. But also, don't encourage them to interact with your belongings or your car. I know it is really tempting, but this attracts them around to the places where people are. It heightens their risk of getting injured in a traffic accident. It heightens the risk that they're going to start eating man-made materials containing lead. One of the things we have a lot of birds coming to the wildlife hospital here is due to lead poisoning. So if you do see a Kea in the wild, do enjoy the moment, but don't feed them. Other ways you can help, it's worth taking a look at the Kea Conservation Trust and the South Island Wildlife Hospital. Both of them do really great work, so you can take a look at making a donation to one of those, or if you have the time available, consider volunteering some of your time to help them out. And the last question I'll answer today is from M. Hammy, who asks, how could I go about volunteering here? So if you'd like to volunteer with Willowbank, then jump on their website. They've got a volunteers page. Otherwise, if you'd like to come and join our lab in particular and actually do some research with these birds, we're always looking for people. We usually have 2 or 3 international students come to join us each year, but of course travel at the moment is a little bit difficult, so we'll be looking for someone within NZ to come and join us for 2021. You can head to the Animal Minds Lab webpage, and we've got a notification of interest form that you can fill in there. So thank you all so much for the great support over these first few videos. The feedback we've had has been just incredible, and we'd like to make this more of a regular thing. So the plan is to have a new video for you every second Thursday, so keep an eye out, and I will see you all again very, very soon. Thank you very much, and bye!